My name is Helen, the third person of Marriage on the Rock and Singles with Purpose. I bring to you the roles of in-laws in marriage. And I want to quickly remind us that in-laws play significant roles in marriage, and their involvement can either strengthen or strain the relationship between spouses, if you agree with me. So here are some common roles that they can take on. It could be positive and then it could be negative. So I want us to consider the first positive role of in-laws as being the custodian of culture and tradition. Our in-laws, especially the elders, they often ensure that the cultural rights and maybe the traditions of the family does not go into extinction, so that it could be upheld. Maybe such as the ones that is being observed during wedding name ceremonies and maybe with funerals. They guide couples on customary values and expectations. The number two positive roles of in-law is about them being the mediators and then the counselors. We cannot do away with the fact that there are some times that young couples might need the mediation and even the counsel of the elderly ones. We always believe that they are more of wisdom, that they have been well taught by experiences. The third role is that there could be a support system. Yes, please. Our in-laws could be a great support system for us. They can help us with childcare, or maybe they could temporarily raise our children. In some cases, there are so many people that when they put to bed, their mother-in-laws or their parents will have to come around to support you when you are at your lowest. The number four positive role of in-laws is that the social status and the blessing of your marriage will definitely be jacked up. There is this blessing and then the acceptance of in-laws. It could now add more legitimate prestige to your marriage when you have the acceptance of in-laws from both sides. In some cases, the in-laws might play a negative, significant roles in marriages, thereby putting them aside. We call them negative because it is not beneficial. So instead of bringing support, it's now bringing strains. So instead of bringing clarity, it's now bringing confusion. Instead of it introducing joy and support and backbone, then it's now bringing so much pressure and then tussle, conflict, unresolved, so many ups and downs in the marriage. That's why I'm clarifying them as negative roles of parents. Of in-laws in marriage. And let me just start it from this, that the number one I want us to see is their over involvement and control. In a situation whereby the in-law wants to control how your finances should run, want to control the raising of the children in the family, and then maybe they still want to control so many household decisions, this will definitely have negative impact on every form of marriage. 2. Tribal and cultural expectations. There are so many issues that actually arises from this, from maybe spouses from different tribes or culture, whereby you just want them to jump into your own culture, neglecting their own culture. So when it is being imposed on any of the parties in marriage by their in-laws, okay, this is our tribal or cultural expectations and you must meet up to this, it becomes a struggle, it becomes inconvenient for the couple. There might be another pressure to conform. They might be pressurized to conform, especially women in marriage. They could be forced. There is a possibility for them to face pressure from in-laws. Okay, you must conform to this. You must give us a male child. You must give us the 4 children. You must give us this. You must do this. You must do that. All this pressure have negative impact on marriage. There are some in-laws who kept on interfering in dispute. Okay, I'm not saying it's a bad thing for in-laws to interfere when couples cannot easily resolve their differences, but instead of some in-laws to help in resolving the issue, they come in and bring in so many other complications by taking sides with maybe the husband. They could take side with the wife, and then sometimes they could just feel that maybe my daughter is being mistreated, my son is not well treated, and then instead of them to resolve the problem on ground, they will compound the situation, complicate the issue, and then begin to escalate the matters, especially when they are not giving them godly advice. This is very, very detrimental to marriages. There are some specific rules by relationship that I want us to quickly look into. like the mother-in-law expecting the daughter-in-law to treat her as if she was her mother. You know what? I think I actually support that. Yeah, you should see your in-laws as your own very parents. There is no need for you to separate them. Is my husband mother and not my mother? No, I don't think that is speech out of wisdom. It is rather a speech out of selfish and then pride. So like I believe that by rules, the relationship, we should try to adopt our in-laws as if they were our own original parents, and things will be good. Like now the mother could be expecting the daughter-in-law to be the one in charge of all the domestic duties at home, fulfilling every part of the cleaning of the house, and then all of that, that is from the part of the mother-in-law. They have so much expectations from their daughter-in-law when it comes to the domestic activities, when it comes to the domestic issues around the house. Some father-in-law, typically their father-in-laws are always less troublesome in so many cases. Only on rare cases would you find father-in-law being troublesome. I don't know what happened to my gender that is always bringing issues out of nowhere at all time. They are more influential because their decision making, like when they get involved in situations on ground, they bring solutions to it. They don't complicate issue, except for those father-in-laws who are petty in nature. It is very, very rare for you to have a father-in-law that will bring issue to their children's marriages. Only my gender is common at doing. What about sibling in-laws? Some of them could begin to pose themselves as rivals. Okay, I'm the immediate sister of your husband, and there will be unhealthy rivalry that will result into so many issues, so many complications. For example, I heard of a particular family that the husband would not eat any food prepared by the wife, but rather he preferred to eat anything that is being presented to him by his sister, because the sister was actually staying with them. But you know what? That situation was part of the reasons why that marriage broke apart. I think so many sibling in-laws should please take things easy, because you still have a place to go. Either you are staying with them directly or you are not staying with them directly. There is no need for rivalry, especially the unhealthy one. There is no need for envy. There is no need for greed. You don't really need to struggle with anything. You don't need to put yourself in the shoe and begin to compete against your brother's wife, or you begin to compete with your sister's husband. It's uncalled for, actually. So instead of you to be doing that, I think there is a need for us to actually create some healthy boundaries so that the tensions in our family, in our marriages, could please go down. Any tension that is coming from anywhere, anyone, should please, I sincerely recommend a healthy boundary so that the marriage will not collapse. Modernizations has actually helped in so many areas. That things are changing now, and the way in-laws do interact with couples is completely different now. The traditional roles still hold. There are so many of them that will not change, but I think people are setting much more healthier and firmer boundaries now, and then they actually emphasize the need for their privacy and independence. People are doing that now, so I don't really know how much interference you are getting from your in-laws. There is a need for you to establish a firmer boundaries and a healthy one, of course, so that your marriage will not hit the rock due to the influences of in-laws from the left and then from the right. Can we still remember the roles of Naomi in the life of Ruth? Despite the fact that her sons died, she was a strong support, a strong pillar of support for her daughter-in-laws, especially Ruth, that chose to follow her to wherever she goes. Naomi is a beautiful biblical example of a loving, a supportive mother-in-law, she nurtured her relationship with Ruth even after the death of her son. Her guidance actually helped Ruth to find a new path in life, and then it ultimately led to blessing for the family line and even for the entire world. So that lineage gave us the savior of the whole world. This is me telling every in-law, every mother-in-law watching this, that you can actually follow you can follow the step of Naomi about how helpful she was to her daughter-in-law. I pray the Lord bless you. Every couples out there listening to this, and even every in-laws, may the Lord help you so that what God has joined together, you will not be the reason why it's breaking apart. Thank you so much for listening. May the Lord bless your home now and always. If you want to inquire on anything Please do not hesitate to dial this number 07037 150 154.